What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Red Cat Live. We got a show set up for you guys today. We're going to talk a little bit more about crawlers. We're going to take a break from the norm, step away from the lowrider scene for just a little bit because I do want to show you a cool lowrider video that I want to share with you that someone has shared with us, and I think it needs to be seen as many times as possible. But before we get into that, I definitely want to kind of touch base on a couple things. We're going to talk about the crawler lineup that we have, more specifically the Gen 7 to the Gen 8 to even the Marksman, and we'll also touch base a little bit on the Wendigo as well to kind of show you guys some stuff. But before we do that, I definitely want to share with you guys a video that was done up by The Real Dada. He did a video using the Monte Carlo that we just released, the black one, right? The training day. And he did a really cool training day video. And I really wanted to share it with you guys because, man, this thing's fire. And it needs to get as many views as possible everywhere. So without further ado, before we get into the crawler realm and what we're going to talk about here today, let's take a look at that video.
Hey, grab that menu off that window for me, all right? Get in, it's unlocked.
This car is not from the motor pool.
No, it's not. Sexy though, isn't it?
So where's the office back at Division?
You're in the office, baby. Going up.
Dre let a dog out, killed him with 187. Nigga kept it gangster, doggy the one they checkin'. Banging in the party, soon as the nigga steppin'. All blue hoodie, covering up my weapon.
All right, well, there it was, man. I promise you that's the only lowrider stuff you guys will see today. I appreciate all of you guys that are joining in. If you guys can, in the comments, drop me where you're from, where you're watching from. If you're watching from, a restaurant eating, I want to know about it. If you're watching from a porta potty, leave that one to yourself. I don't need to know. But wherever you're at, drop it down. Definitely just want to see who's on the live today. Today we're going to kind of take a little bit of a break from the norm. We're going to talk a little more crawlers, kind of go through the batting order of the crawler scene that we offer here at Red Cat. So first and foremost, what's going on, Vince Vargas, Ryan Ackerman, what's up? Eric Sarceno, thank you for stopping by. Ain't no party like a Wendigo party because a Wendigo party don't stop. I love it. That's what's up. Oh, man. We got Andrew Steen from MRCC in the house. We got Sean Warwick representing Central Florida. Thank you guys so much for watching and chiming in today. It's going to be kind of more of a chill sesh. Answer some questions when it comes to the crawling scene. And answer some questions that I see frequently so many times get asked. A lot of it has to do with the Marksman and how it compares to, let's say, the Gen 8 or even the Gen 7. You notice I do not have an Everest 10 on this block. And the reason for it is because we touched base on the Everest 10 a few months back. And we actually even had it on sale for a little bit, as well as the Gen 8 and the Gen 7. But I think for that kind of a style of crawler, it's definitely its own breed. It's definitely a great starter truck at $179. But I definitely wanted to touch base a little more on the more proven trucks that we have, the stuff that you can kind of do a little more with. Not that you can't do anything with the Everest 10, you can do a lot with it, but I just really want to concentrate on these in particular ones. Demetrius Henderson, representing North Georgia, thank you. New to the RC scene, welcome, man, welcome. Don't be shy. Feel free to ask any questions that we might be able to help ask. As a team, we do great, and there's a lot of great guys in the chat that know a lot of stuff, and I know them personally, so hopefully we can get your questions answered. Tony Gutierrez, what's going on? Really good, loyal Red Cat customer, man. Ryan Ackerman is representing Prescott, Arizona. That's what's up. So, guys, it's no, secret. Red Cat has been involved in the crawler scene for many years. And obviously you have lots of choices to choose from so many manufacturers. The big three, as I like to call them, right? And all those crawlers are really well stout. They're really well known over the years. If you're like me that started representing a specific brand many, many moons ago, crawlers didn't come capable out of the box. You'd pick up a crawler, it would have really flexible links whenever the temperature would get over 95 degrees due to the plastic flexing. Horrible turn radius, so you had to spend time and money and ingenuity to figure out how to make it steer better. It was definitely a truck that you bought as a ready to run, but you put a lot of yourself into it, right? A lot of updates and a lot of modifications to make it unique to your driving style. And I really want to kind of emphasize that when I talk about these crawlers. It doesn't matter which brand you choose, which brand you go with. It could be Red Cat or brand X, Y, or Z. One crucial thing you should always do whenever you buy a crawler or any ready-to-run RC car is to always go through it. So, as preventative maintenance, as I like to call it, to make sure that you're getting the most out of your products, I always recommend having a good set of tools whenever you buy an RC car. I get it, right? You just spent a couple $100 on a crawler, basher, drifter, lowrider, and then I'm telling you to go buy another $30, $40, $50, $60, $70 worth of tools. I get that. It kind of can feel like it's a big sting, right? A big slap in the face, especially when you add another battery and a charger on top of it. This hobby's quickly getting out of line and expensive. But let me tell you, you can save a lot more money in the long run by just applying yourself and purchasing a good set of tools. My go-to tool set that I always keep here at work, and I keep a set at home, are drivers from MIP. Some of the most popular sizes that you're going to need are going to be the 2.5 millimeter hex, the 2 millimeter hex, the 1.5 millimeter hex. You're going to have two nut drivers that are primary, your 5.5 millimeter, as well as your 7. 7 is going to be your wheel nut. So if you want to opt to not buy one of these, you can definitely get away with using the little T handle that we offer in most of our cars and most manufacturers offer. If you're like me, you probably have 30 or 40 of those little T's sitting around because you've been using them for so many years. Having a good set of drivers definitely goes a long way. Helps you avoid stripping, screws and hexes, and allows you to just really kind of work on your car with the simplicity of not worrying about things stripping on you. Because trust me, there is no worse day than stripping something that you can't get to than you getting a grinder out, try and cut it out, drill it, or whatever have you to get it out of there, right? Let me double check some of these comments, guys. I'm so sorry, not trying to leave you guys hanging. Hey, everyone's like, happy 420. Happy 420, everyone. If you partake, if not, no worries at all, man. But hope you guys are enjoying yourselves today. What truck is a brown-looking Jeep thing? This bad boy is the Marksman. It's a 1/8 scale truck, and we'll get into that here in a little bit and go over those details. Ryan Aquaman, I work 2 jobs just to afford this hobby. It gets expensive. Hey, but you know what? That's a diehard right there. I love it. Yoshi Rivera's in the house. What's going on, Yoshi? How are you? Did I freeze? Am I frozen? Hopefully not. Got no notification on my end. Okay. So let's start from the beginning, right? You guys have a lot of options, and we're going to start with the most cost-efficient option. Let's move this Marksman out of the way. The Wendigo. We'll move the 64x4 over here. And we'll take a look at the Gen 8 here. All right. So talking about the Gen 7 here, this is the Gen 7 Pro. Now we offer it in 2 configurations, the Gen 7 regular, which is around $230, $240, and then the $279.99 for the Gen 7 Pro. Some of the main differences you're going to find in the Gen 7 Pro compared to the regular one, it's going to be pretty much the accessory packages that you see, the flares, the extra spare tire, the mirrors, the little scale trinkets that kind of make it unique, right? It's a great truck out of the gate. It comes with a BP chassis, which is a steel chassis rail with an electronic holder as well. And I personally like it quite a bit. Let's see if we can take the body off here. There we go. Some of the cool features that you're going to find with the Pro is going to be a kickback body that stays attached to the chassis itself. You can see we have steel frame rails, electronics cage that holds the electronics for you, which is a little bit more of an upgrade in comparison to the other version. Body is then held on by Velcro down on the front. It's a great truck out of the gate, really stout. I always recommend, no matter what you do when you buy a car, is to just, again, go over it like you would anything. You want it to last. You want it to, last for a long time. So again, get your 7 mil, check your wheels, make sure they're all nice and tight. As you can see, these are slightly loose, and I'm getting a good quarter turn out of them. I loosened them up before we got on camera, but I like to go through it. I like to flip my truck over. I like to take a look at everything, making sure everything is nice and tight. Get your drivers out. Again, just nut and bolt everything, making sure that everything is nice and tight. The last thing you want is to take your brand new truck that you just spent money on, that was assembled in a factory, and this happens to everyone. Every manufacturer I've seen this happen to. You get one or two that get away on a Friday night, something's left loose, and then you're dealing with the premature wear and tear of a vehicle that you feel shouldn't have, right? Gen 7, again, the Pro comes with the skids as well on the axles. See if you can see them there. Helps hang up on the actual axle itself. See, parts the body. That's funny. Yeah. So in that aspect, it's a great stout truck. I love it. I enjoy driving it quite a bit. I actually was a big fan of BP chassis even before Red Cat decided to use BP chassis. And BP chassis is actually right out of Northern California, I believe near Redding, if I'm not mistaken. Bruce Pease runs a great operation, offers a lot of accessories, kind of a really great innovator when it came to the crawler scene. And it was really awesome to see them team up with two guys, Trail Gear, to then develop such a market for the Gen 7, which was actually a mating between the Everest 10 and the BP chassis. So we actually went over that. And if you want the whole story on the Gen 7, definitely circle back around and watch that live feed that should be loaded up on YouTube for you to watch later. Now, when you compare, Clay Keats, what's going on, sir? Tony says, my Gen 7 is a great entry-level truck. Eric Casano says it's a great platform. So with that said, after the Gen 7 came out, the Gen 8 came out. And people wanted to know, well, what was the big difference between the Gen 8 and the Gen 7? Well, Gen 7 was the first time we introduced portal axles in comparison to straight axles that you see in a Gen 7. The vehicle still came with a Velcroed body system that allowed the body to sit on the chassis Velcro to it, so it didn't have any body posts sticking up. So this was, again, the second generation that they released a product that didn't have holes in the body. One of the first ones to actually offer that at a bargain rate. So something that we're really proud of, that we're trying to continue the tradition on doing so. Now, this chassis that you see here actually had a green body on it, and I couldn't use a green body because of the green screen. So I'm over here showing you with the purple body. The purple body's not held on really well, and I'll show you why, because I used some parts from this body on the 64x4. So let's take a look at some of the differences that you're going to see underneath. Obviously, it's going to be more of a ladder style frame rail. You don't have that flat steel chassis that you find on the Gen 7. You now have a divorce transfer case. Give you an idea of the layout. All right, you got front motor set up on the Gen 8, and you have a mid motor set up on the Gen 7. The V1 Gen 8 was its first version. V2 came out shortly after, I believe a year or so after, and some of the modifications done to the Gen 7 V2 was a flat skid in comparison to the one that had the like a hump where the transmission would mount. We beefed up the axles themselves. They tend to have needed a little bit more girth, so to speak, to handle a little bit more abuse, and it did great after that. One of the cool features that you find with the I'm always messing myself with the Gen 8, is that the wheelbase is adjustable. So, okay, not just adjustable, but it's easy to adjust. You just remove your screws that are here on the side. Let me see here. They're sitting right here on both sides, and you can literally move your links in and in, moving the wheels inward. So if you're the kind of person like myself that uses the Gen 8 platform to then do, custom builds, that's a big benefit, because then it allows you the opportunity to use a lot of different bodies that may not have fit on a regular size chassis. Obviously, with the portals, as mentioned, the portal axles give you a lot more ground clearance underneath, and the Gen 8 comes in at a staggering $339.99. So you get to see roughly around a 20 for 60, about a $60 difference between the Gen 7 Pro and the Gen 8. Aluminum shocks, again, I always recommend everyone, when you buy something, go through it, I like to change shock oils. Just because a vehicle was produced from a factory doesn't necessarily mean that you shouldn't go through it and do things that are going to accommodate you. The more I realize this over the years of crawling and bashing and just downright RCing, is that I found that my liking is a softer front suspension and stiffer rear suspension. When you're climbing up a mountain or hill or an obstacle course, when you start to go up, all that weight transfers to the rear of the vehicle. If your rear is too soft, it's going to end up buckling so much. And with a body as big as the Gen 8 is, it's a lot of weight transfer, and that just kind of makes it really top heavy. So first thing I like to do when you buy a Gen 8 is to turn your turnbuckles. You can see them right here. I turn them down a good maybe halfway down, all the way from the top, halfway down. And I venture to even replace shock oil. I like to use, depending on the weight of the vehicle, if it's just stock, I would venture to say 60 weight in the rear and sticking to like a 35 weight in the front. That'll give you nice, good articulation in the front. So when you're up on a rock and you need that tire to just drop down to get traction, it has the movement because the oil is not so thick that it's just keeping it there. And then you have the stiffness of the rear, kind of keeping that weight transfer towards the front. Ryan Ackerman, at this time, no, we're not really venturing to get back into the mini crawler scene. We have a lot of projects. A lot of projects that we're working on right now that are definitely going to take presence when you compare it to the micro crawler scene. The micro crawler scene's hot, and if you're not in it right at this moment, it's kind of hard to get back into it, especially when you see so much dominance in the aftermarket support of one specific product. We've seen other folks create other 124 scale crawlers, and you're not seeing a lot of the aftermarket support because everything kind of carried on to its first predecessor that is really doing well. So it's got to make sense, right? If we want to play in that pond, we have to be ready to show up. And I think right now that's definitely an avenue we're just not comfortable playing in at the moment. Scott Forden, Gen 8 is probably the best ready-to-run truck on the market in the price range. I love it. That literally puts everything into perspective, right? For $279 to get into the hobby, it's not a bad deal, right? It definitely is a great truck. All of our products come with 2.4 gigahertz, digital receivers and radios, which makes everything a breeze. And I personally like the simplicity of working on the Gen 8 and or the Gen 7. As you notice, the Gen 7 with the body on it compared to the Gen 8 compared to the Gen 7, you start to see a good amount of difference when you're talking about where they stand. If you were to take off the top rack off the Gen 7, you would see that the body would actually sit right about here, right? It's probably a good solid 2 inches shorter than the Gen 8. A lot of the height difference is attributed to the portal axles being used on the Gen 8 compared to the Gen 7. So let's see. So when you compare them, There you go. If you were to put one on this side, it'll give you a little bit more of an idea of just how much taller the body sits compared to the Gen 7. Gen 8, I feel, is a great platform. I think it does really well out of the box. You can do quite a bit with it. And if you want to replace the body and use other bodies, you can, because the wheelbase adjustability offers you the 12.3 wheelbase all the way down to like an 11.2, I believe. So it allows you quite a bit of bodies that are offered by the aftermarket to use. You're not stuck with just a Scout body. There's Chevy bodies, Ford bodies. There's all kinds of bodies that will allow you to find something in your niche. Shoot, I'll give you an example. What if you didn't want to use any of the bodies out there and you wanted to do something crazy off the top? Well, you can. You can have fun with it. This is a Gen 8, which is exactly what this is right here, just modified. This was something I did for a project a while back. We did a video on it. It was a build. It's a Gen 7 underneath completely. It's been shortened. It does have Trio Hobbies axles, aluminum upgrades, reef servo. It has a axe system inside of it as well. This is pretty much a Gen 8 axe, you know, with some extras, with a 64 body that we were able to slap on, you know. So again, sky's the limit. You can do what you want and enjoy the hobby to the maximum of your potential. You just got to have a little creativity when you look at it. I didn't want to have holes in my body, you know, where the body sits. So I used the mounting mechanism from the Gen 8, which is held by Velcro, on this body, using the exact same fender flares so that everything works perfect. And it did. So lots of options, you know, have fun with it. This one has some Reefs RC CNC wheels with hardware, and it does great. These are the Super Swamper RC 4-wheel drive IROCs. It's a great truck, and it handles well. All right, the axe. You want to know about the axe. Sean, no, it actually has nothing to do with initial cost. Well, it does in a way, but one of the biggest issues is with all the inflation, especially with the chip shortage and everything going on, even before what we're experiencing now, prices on electronics started going skyrocketing. And to offer a product at the price point that we were offering it, like the axe, we were no longer able to offer it at that price point due to the inflation then trickling down, you know, to us for purchasing of such electronics. So because of that, we just felt that it was just time to, you know, kind of set it aside and allow it to retire in that sense. It doesn't mean that we're done. It doesn't mean that that's all that there's going to be. We're still strong in the game. We're working on a lot of great projects that we hope to share with you guys, you know, sometime later this year. Some of them may be crawlers. Some of them may be, you know, Prius, you know, bashers, you know. We may even offer the first, you know, Mustang crowd chasing car. I don't know. You know, the sky's the limit. Man, who knows? Maybe like a gasser with, you know, like a Tesla motor inside of it. Sky's the limit. I mean, we're working on a lot of cool stuff. Don't quote me on any of these because obviously none of them are real. But the truth of the matter is that we are working on a lot of cool stuff, and we hope to bring you guys a lot more of what made us successful to begin with, which is a lot of the basher and crawler stuff. Darkwoods RC, how you doing, sir? Good seeing you. So yes, we do actually have quite a bit of axe bodies still available on our website. So if you want to buy the all black Gen 8 body, they are available on our website as well. So let's move along, take away the Gen 8, because the next question that I see asked over and over and over again is, what is the size comparison of the Gen 8 to the Marksman? The Marksman is a crawler that we released sometime last year. It is a 1/8 scale crawler, and it kind of took, you know, the market of what the Axe was offering before. The Axe was a brushless motor setup with a Reefs RC servo, you know, a lot more higher end electronics right out of the box, and people loved it because for the buck, it was a bargain of a deal. When the Marksman came out, we wanted to do something similar, but making it its own thing. So the Marksman is a 1/8 scale crawler, as I mentioned. It comes with this green body that when you actually scrape away the paint, let's see, it'll show up here. You can kind of see the orange bleeding through the scratch marks. And that's something that we really wanted to kind of give that rusty patina look, wear and tear as you're using your truck on the trail. Now, this one in particular is my personal one, and I've modified it a little bit, but not much as far as the underneath goes. Just some trinkets on top, some lights, a winch, you know, those little things that just kind of make it unique, again, to myself. Taking the body off. And for a lot of you guys that don't know, when we showed this body last year, there was a big Easter egg on it. Not a lot of people caught it. Because if you look at the license plate, ORP 967. For those of you that know, that is the license plate for the official Training Day car driven in the movie. So we had license plates on this car, and this car was driven at so many different crawler events, and no one really caught on to that. There might have been only about 2 or 3 people that caught on to that, and the ones that did, I just kept my mouth shut to not, you know, give in to the fact that, yeah, we had that car coming at some point. So the Marksman. Marksman is a slightly longer wheelbase in comparison to your regular crawler. We're going to set the Gen 8 right on top to give you an idea of just how much of a difference in length you're going to see between the Gen 8 and the Marksman. You got a 1/8 or 1/10 crawler on top, and then you have a 1/8 scale crawler on the bottom. As far as width goes, for axle width, track width, I should say, you can see that the axle, let me see here, there we go. You see here that the track width on the Marksman is going to be a lot wider as well, right? It's going to take a lot wider body. So a lot of people ask me, you know, what would I get, the Marksman or the Gen 8? You know, what's better and what makes it so much different? Well, it's a completely different platform. Slightly bigger crawler. It does come with 2.2-inch tires compared to 1.9s that we would see on the Gen 8. But the takeaway that comes with this ready-to-run product compared to, let's say, the Gen 8 or even something that you might see out there is that this one comes with a Holmes Hobby 13-turn brush motor. And it's paired with a 1080 waterproofed ESC from Hobbywing. For a lot of you guys, if you guys are into the crawling scene and know it, the 1080 ESC has been a staple ESC that has just stood the test of time and has been a go-to price conscientious ESC that just works really well. So again, you notice a lot of similarities though, aside from that, when it comes to the actual layout of the electronics, motor, and so on. Let me see. Because if something works, you know, we're not going to reinvent the wheel. It's working. Why change what's working, right? So if you notice, you still have a front-mounted motor, divorce transfer case, and transmission. If you look at the underneath, it pretty much is just a larger version of the Gen 8. And that's bumper on bumper sitting on the table, just to give you guys a little bit of an idea. But if we were to line up wheel to wheel like that, then you start to see the difference in wheelbase, the difference in track width, but a lot of similarities when it comes to the design of the two. Since the Gen 8 has done so great for us over the years and for so many people, we didn't feel that there was really a big need to change a lot of what went into that. But before the Marksman was even a thing, before we started offering, you know, this bigger body on this thing, a lot of the groundwork was already done on this product. And the groundwork that was done on the Marksman came from something called the Wendigo. For a lot of you guys that don't know or aren't really keen on the Red Cat products, the Wendigo is a 1/8 scale rock racer, a 1/10 scale rock racer. And I'll show you the difference between the Wendigo and that. Now, the chassis is the same. A lot of the layout is the same. But a lot of the, you know, the characteristics of the Gen 8 were carried over into the Wendigo, which then eventually made it to the Marksman. They are two separate products, but for those folks that don't know, is before the Marksman became what it was, the Wendigo was used by a lot of our community members as crawlers. So here is the Wendigo, and we're going to show you the difference. Let's see here. Okay. So, this is the difference between the Wendigo and the Marksman. Wendigo obviously has same 2.2-inch wheels, just a lot bigger tire. And it's intended exactly for what it is. It's intended to tackle rocks and off-road terrain. When you set them on top of each other here, there you go. Same track width, same axle, design. It's, again, for a lot of folks, I actually personally liked the Wendigo and decided to make a Wendigo crawler a long time before the Marksman was released. A lot of folks loved doing that to these things, and one of the things that they did to make that happen was they used a crawler system inside of it, removed the Rock Racer brushless motor that was really punchy and really throttle happy, and went down to like an axe system or a castle system or a brush system. On top of that, we removed the rear shocks that made this vehicle rake pretty good, and we ended up using the same length that we used in the front on the rear. This gave us a little bit more of an advantage to then be able to then crawl it a little bit easier. Change the shock oils, and this thing can actually perform really well. I like this body, I like the design of it, so it was a winner for me to create or modify a Wendigo to be a crawler. So when it comes to options, when it comes to crawlers, sky's the limit. You have a lot of options, and just because a truck comes a certain way from the factory, it doesn't mean that you can't have fun with it and enjoy it and modify it and make it your own. Double check these questions here really quick. Let's see. Larry Munoz representing Northeast Ohio. Let's see. Double check here. Oh, Sean, nice. I did not know that. So Sean says he actually has been able to use the Wendigo body on a Gen 8 chassis, and that it actually works fairly well as well. Darkwood says he put the XR 247 axles on SE10 to make it a mega truck. Dude, that's awesome. And that's what I'm getting at, right? I mean, there's nothing you can't do that you can't enjoy to the maximum potential when you just allow your creativity to just flow and enjoy it, I'm the kind of person I like to tinker. I don't like leaving things alone. I love buying ready to runs, but I enjoy buying, kits more than anything, because that's what I geek out on the most, is building something. And trust me, all my builds are like this. They're, never using what came on the vehicle, always doing my own thing and being just the oddball out. So, don't be afraid to think outside the box. If something feels like it's a crazy idea to you, try it. Odds are half the time you end up learning something new in the process. All right, D'Angelo. So the Marksman only comes in that green color at this time. And underneath the body is a rusted look. So as you scrape, let me get a little closer here. So as you end up scraping the paint, you can kind of see the orange there coming out. Let's see if we can show you this side here. But that's the color that ends up bleeding through. And this is just to offer, again, a option where you get a patinaed paint job based on the wear and tear that you offer your car or your vehicle. Take into consideration, this car is modified with the top rack that does not come on the vehicle, as well as rock lights and headlights. So this thing is kind of done up a little bit more. And you can do all those things to your vehicle, as you modify it. And Tony Gutierrez says the SC103 Gladiator length body fits it as well. Good to know. Roland, I have seen your crawler a few times. Thank you so much for sharing it on the pages. It's a really nice looking crawler. He also has a 64 crawler that he built. And I love it, man. I love it. I love being different. This one I ended up getting some parts off the shelf, which is just some mud flaps, because why not? And again, portal housings. I got Marty McFly sitting on the inside. There's the underneath, some cage work that I built, half of another vehicle. Put that on there. Look at that, just fits right on there. Got Marty McFly sitting in the driver's seat, and I made it a center driver because why not, right? You can see the axe system right there. It is brushless. I believe it's the smaller 20, or no, it's actually the 3300 kV system, if I'm not mistaken. Reefs RC servo. I also installed some limiting straps on the suspension to kind of limit how much travel I get, keeping it nice and low. So, all right. So yeah, guys, so, you know, again, when you're making a purchase and you're trying to gauge an idea for what crawler you want to buy, sky's the limit. There's so many options out there with so many different manufacturers, and there is no wrong way as long as you're enjoying the hobby. So whether you choose to buy from Red Cat or someone else, hey, by all means, just get into the hobby, get out, go crawling. If you have kids, find it as an outlet to get them involved in enjoying the hobby as well. Quite frequently, at least once or twice a month, I usually load up my trucks and my kids' trucks, and we usually go out crawling, and it's just a good way to get out, get some trail time in, especially here in Arizona before the heat really kicks in. It's something that we enjoy doing as a family, and I really think there's a huge value in that. For me, buying a lot of products, especially when I have to buy RC cars for all three of my boys, you know, I also have to think with my wallet. I have to think, you know, financially, and buying from Red Cat has allowed me the affordability to buy more for my buck or get more for my dollar. So keep that in mind when you're making your buying decisions. Make sure that you're making the right decision for yourself. Buy with confidence, knowing that we have really well-tested vehicles, trail tested at that. But just know also, when you're dealing with the hobby, things break, things wear and tear. It happens. I've purchased vehicles from other manufacturers over the years before I came here, and the first thing that burns out would be a servo or an electronics. When you're dealing with the ready-to-run operation, the electronics are never the highest end quality of products you're going to get, but they are just to get you started in the hobby. So keep that in mind when things wear and tear. Being in the hobby means you're going to be working on your stuff, and you're going to be replacing things as you wear, tear, and break them. And that's the cool factor of working and enjoying the hobby, right? If any of you guys have anything that you guys can add to that, please let us know. I want another chance at catching that 64x4. Hey, Sean, we're going to do it on different grounds next time. We're not going to be able to do it where we did it, right? But I'm down whenever you are. Let's see here. Would you guys ever consider building the Banshee in an upgraded version, similar to like the Capra? I haven't heard anything shared with me in that, you know, to that level. But it's something that I can definitely, you know, put on the docket as a talking point with the engineering team and the owner, and it may be something that may make it on the list at some point. You never know. We love hearing feedback from our customers, and as painful as it is, we even appreciate hearing the bad stuff and the negative stuff. Sometimes you have to take it with a grain of salt, but it is what it is. Everyone has an opinion, and they're entitled to it. And we're no one to tell you what you're entitled or not entitled to think. So if you have an idea that makes sense and can make it, then by all means, shoot it our way. We're always happy and eager to hear from all of our people. Roland Jarman says, I love Red Cats. I have 2 Impalas and 3 Monties, an Axe, and 2 Gen 8s and an E10. Whoa, bro. Right on, man. Appreciate that. Thank you for the support. I'm glad you're enjoying them. Brandon Winchester, the Gen 8 is an incredible rig. You can upgrade everything if you wish. I absolutely love my truck, and he is from Indiana. So much love. Thank you for chiming in and sharing your experience. Danny LeBeouf is in the house. What's going on, Danny? I love Danny, man. Danny's an awesome dude. Kelly Michael says, you guys got me into RC. Love your guys' enthusiasm. Well, we appreciate you guys, honestly. We're nothing without our customers. We're nothing without our community. And we don't even like calling our customers customers. We like to think of them as, community members that help elevate and help promote the hobby. That's why we use so many pictures of our builders. We hardly ever use pictures that we take because you guys are out there enjoying them. Why not share them? If you have a car that is being modified and you're doing cool stuff to it, share it with us. Now, we do get an immense amount of requests to share pictures and content that is shared with us. If we don't get you the first, second, third time, just keep sharing it with us. We're usually bound to get to it. And if not, you can always send your pictures to support@redcatracing.com so that we can assess them. And if they're cool pictures, then we'll be happy to share them with the rest of the world on all of our social media outlets. Some of the best things that we feel we bring to the table when it comes to any aspect of the hobby that we're involved in is listening to our customers, listening to our community, making sure that we're involved with them. And you're going to see more of that happen. Last year was the first time you got to see a lot of us out and about at events because it's the first time we're indulging in that sector of the hobby and getting out and being approachable. And we want to continue that realm this year. We want to continue pushing forward. And that's why we're at so many lowrider shows. We're at so many RC events this year. We really want to just be everywhere so that you can see us face to face and enjoy the hobby with us. Ask Sean Warwick, he's in here. He came up to the booth. He's a big Red Cat fan. I asked him, do you want to go have fun? He's like, yeah, let's do it. And we took off and we ended up crawling. I'm that person. I will go crawling with you no matter where we're at. If I have a rig, even if I don't have a rig, and you got an extra one to let me use, let's go have a good time. Those are the kind of people that we all are here at Red Cat. That's who we embody. We want to make sure that everyone knows that we want to offer scale fun for everyone. It's a mantra that we want to stick behind, and you're going to see a lot more cool stuff in the near future that's going to kind of allow us and allow you guys to enjoy more sectors of the hobby than ever before. So from all of us here at Red Cat to all of you that have continued to support us, we appreciate you. We're pushing on, the 48th or 49th episode. I want to do something special for the 50th if we can. Next week we're going to be talking to, I believe, Martin Lara and hopefully someone from Block Boys, which is two promoters that have done two successful events in the lowrider RC realm. And we really hope to kind of talk to them about some future plans for a really cool event that's happening in July. So don't miss next week's episode. Same bat time, same bat channel, 3:30 p.m. here on Facebook. And we'll be happy to kind of just go through all those motions with you and enjoy the hobby any way we can. Dustin, what's going on? How you doing, sir? Sean Warwick says, one of my favorite people I've met in this hobby. Oscar's so down to earth, so down the home, and a great person. I love that he's part of the Red Cat family. I appreciate you. Thank you so much, Sean. That really means a lot to me. And I try to be as approachable as possible. Sometimes I'll get a lot of messages at once. People want to ask me questions on updates or how to do this, how to do that. I apologize if I can't get to everyone. At some given point, I got to log off of the internet. I got to have my me time. But it doesn't mean that I'm not tweaking out on these RCs and having a good time as well. Again, as mentioned, we appreciate all of your guys' ongoing support. We look forward to what the rest of this year is going to bring. Some other drops that we have coming. I'm going to try and get a lot more ETAs for you guys for next week's show on things that keep being brought up. When are we going to get chrome stuff? When are we going to get gold stuff? Is there going to be gold stuff? Is there going to be this or that for the lowrider stuff? So I know there's a lot of questions that need to be answered. I'll try and get you guys a little more of a concrete idea as to when we may get more of those things, and we'll definitely touch base on those things next week. Again, I really wanted to concentrate on just giving the crawler avenue a little more love, right? If you have any questions or concerns when it comes to your Red Cat product, please reach out to our support team. You can find them at www.redcatracing.com. Scroll down to the Contact Us link where you can have a phone number and an email address to reach out to our support team. We have world-renowned support team. They're great. They're awesome and amazing. They're always eager to help and just awesome to deal with. So don't feel like you're left out high and dry. Reach out, and we're happy to help. All right, guys. So with that said, it's 4:15. It's time to get out of here and hit the road. I hope all of you guys have a great, blessed rest of your day. We'll see all of you guys next week, same time, same channel, and I hope you guys stay safe out there. Take care.